Good morning, everyone. My name is Burton Langell. I'm a business English coach. I do this every day, even on weekends. Been doing it for the last 4 years, and every Thursday about this time, I do a live session on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. I hope everyone's doing well today. And this session, we're going to let me get my slides straight here. We're going to cover as much as we can about doing interviews in English. I thought I was prepared. Never fully prepared. I'm just a human. So how do we ace the English job interview? Ace is to get an A, right? To do really well. I'm sure most of the people here are professionals, and you've been acing your courses and everything for years. And please comment, interact. Let me know where you are, who you are, what you do, whatever you want to say. Would be very helpful, just so I'm not by myself here. I know there's somebody watching me, so that would be great. And there is a little delay on LinkedIn, so I think there's 15-second delay. I won't see your comments for a number of seconds. Now, and can somebody let me know if the sound is okay and you're getting the video feed okay? That would be greatly appreciated. Now, before I started teaching English 4 years ago, I was in business for over 30 years. And I was an entrepreneur, which meant I didn't do a lot of I wasn't an interviewee very often. I was an interviewer. And if I make a few mistakes here, some HR people, just let me know. I'll learn. It's a work in progress. That's what life is, isn't it? So, our greatest critic. Who is our greatest critic? I think our greatest critic is ourselves, isn't it? That little man, that little woman in us who's telling us that we're an imposter. We don't really know what we're talking about, that somebody's going to call us out. Somebody's going to let us know that we're a phony. And we haven't got enough experience, whatever. All these little voices that we have that tell us that we have to get better. We can't do something until we perfect it. It's not perfect yet, and it holds us back. Well, we have to just tell that little guy to go away, because we'd never take it from somebody else, would we? So we need to build self-esteem and assurance. We can use positive affirmation. We should get up in the morning and say, hey, my English is good enough. It's getting better. I'm improving every day. I'm getting better at doing interviews. I am constantly perfecting my profession. My English is going to get to the point where my other skills are. And this is where I'm headed. I am on the road to success, and I'm already successful. It seems like a funny thing to do, but affirmation is very important. Everything is about mindset. What's the difference between the person who becomes a CEO of a big corporation and somebody that stays as a supervisor or whatever? What's the difference? It's all mindset. It's all how they present themselves. And then practice is very important. It's important to acquire new ideas, do a little bit of reading every day, keep ourselves positive. The world has a way of kind of bringing us down sometimes, making us doubtful. Fear is an enemy. One of the presidents, Roosevelt, said, no, Theodore Truman, the president after Roosevelt. I'm a Canadian. I live in Nova Scotia, Canada. Anyway, he said, all we have to fear is fear itself. I believe that was Truman that said that. Now, what about cultural awareness? And I work with students all over the world. And sometimes I'll have a student from Japan or Korea or China. In the Far East, things are different than they are in North America or Europe or South America. People react differently, and China is different than Japan. And formality is different. North America, we're very informal. We're very quick to use first names. We're kind of assumptive. We ask questions sometimes that you'd never ask in China. And there are topics that Chinese people will ask me about. I have Chinese friends who would say, well, Bert, how much money do you make? North America, we never say that unless they were just your best friend in the world. And even then, we wouldn't say it. North America, we wouldn't say to somebody, oh, you're looking kind of fat. I know in Colombia, we had an office there. It was kind of common for people to joke around and say, oh, Bert, you look like you're putting a few pounds on. What have you been eating? Gorda. So we have to be sensitive to this, do our research, go into that online interview and be ready. Let's not offend our interviewer. That just doesn't work so well, does it? Anyway, where are the comments? I'm looking for, am I by myself today? I'm sure there's somebody out there. So introduce yourself. Tell me about yourself. And how about interviewing? What are the challenges that people face when they're getting ready and doing interviews? How do you build your confidence? How do you speak with confidence in English? How do you prepare for these things, be it an interview or a meeting or a presentation? How do you get yourself ready? Please comment. Tell me who you are. And nobody's even told me if they can hear me. Maybe I'm just speaking to myself in the camera. That's kind of funny. Notice I'm saying stress management. We've kind of talked about this a bit. How do you reduce your stress? What do you do when you have a really important meeting, something that's critical for the company you're working with, that you're going to be kind of graded on? How do you reduce that stress? How do you just get in the moment? And maybe you're on a sales meeting, you're selling some program, that'll keep some of your coworkers working, employed, and it's a big deal, but you can't, you just can't look like you're in a panic and you're worried or anything. People react to this. We need to just be matter of fact about it, professional and consultative, and same in interviews. We need to go in there with an open mind. Actually, when we do an interview, we really should be considering if it's a company that we want to work with, not just worried that we won't get the job. We should be concerned about, is it a job I really want? Is it a workplace I can be productive in? Will I feel comfortable there? So being relaxed is very important. How do you do this? Do you go and do a big workout before your interview? Would you meditate? Well, it's a good thing to do. Maybe meditate for 5 minutes. I always tell my students to read aloud before you go into an interview. Just in your car or something. Open up your English mind. Get your English flowing. Get in that mindset. Positive visualizations, seeing yourself doing something really well. Very important. See yourself making that presentation, doing the meeting, doing the interview. See yourself being successful. The first person we have to sell is ourselves. That's the biggest sale. That's the biggest influencer we have to promote. Okay, how about effective communication? It's what I do every day. Talking with my students about how to communicate the best. When do we use informal language? When do we use more formal language? How do we use idioms? How do we use phrasal verbs? How do we learn the collocations in English the way we normally speak? How do we show our confidence? How do we keep the eye contact? How do we open a meeting? How do we use a hook? All those things. Be effective. It's just a process. It's very predictable. So how do we convey those more complicated ideas? Visuals are very important, right? Most people are visual learners. Most of the receptors in our body are through our eyes. Most people don't read much. Most people, if there's a bunch of text, they might read 20% of it. They read the first sentence, maybe a sentence in the middle, and maybe look at the bottom. Executives generally read the conclusion of a report and the executive summary. All the stuff that's in the middle is left to somebody else. Active listening. Yeah, responsive listening. If we're a good listener, people think we're very interesting, don't they? Listen closely, ask smart questions, ask those open questions, get people to communicate to us, keep the thing going. I'm still not seeing any comments. Is there anybody here? Come on. Let me know where you are. Are you in Brazil? Are you in Chile? Are you in Colombia? Are you in Europe? Are you in North America? Where are you? So, nonverbal communication, so important. Body language, right? Show that you can solve problems. They're apt to ask you about your worst day, the worst thing you ever did, the failure that you had. How did you recover? What do you do when you have a panicky situation? How do you manage it? What's your management style? All these things. What do you do when you have a really difficult employee or coworker that's not being cooperative? Now, I'm sure many of you have heard about the STAR technique. What's the situation? My situation was that I was new at the company. I was an intern. They gave me some work to do. I was really nervous. I knew my future opportunities depended on doing this well, but I had to go to somebody and get some information. I needed data to complete the project, and they were kind of a blocker. And I wasn't getting any kind of response. And this task was so important. So I went to this person and I said, could we go for a cup of coffee? I really need to talk with you. And then I just said, I know you're busy and I know you know so much about this. And I have this project and my future depends on it. I really do need your help. Do you think you could give me a hand? And the person said, well, I've been having some problems and I've been so focused on them. I've been kind of forgetting about a few things. And yes, I will. And this action brought about, the person did a 180 and they started helping me. And all of a sudden everything worked and I did a great job. It was a success. And I thank the person for all the help. So we need to show that we're self-motivated, that we can do things on our own, but we're also ready to go out and now ask for help, and that we have those problem-solving skills and we're proactive, right? We don't just react. Growth mindset. Show that we're adaptable. Show that we're willing to learn. I think today everything is about continual learning, isn't it? You're constantly getting new information about your profession. Things are changing, new programming languages are coming out, more new project strategies. We're getting more and more into agile development systems. And there's just now with the AI revolution, there's just so much happening there. It's hard to keep up, isn't it? And to get those perfect prompts to give us the best AI solutions. And if we don't learn to be really good with AI, we're probably going to get a little lost in the job market. What do you think? Tell me about your English too. Do you use English every day? Is English relevant? How do you feel about your English? What are your goals? What are your challenges? Anything you want to say. Just be a little interactive. This is the quietest group I think I've ever spoken to. Positive attitude. If we smile, the world will smile with us, right? When we smile, the world smiles with us. When we're positive, we get positivity. If we say something negative, we'll probably go to the negative. Make the interview experience pleasant for everyone. And when you go into the interview, they always try to put you at ease, and they'll ask you about yourself and that. So it's a time of being positive, and you're talking about something you know about yourself, and you just need to be sincere and enthusiastic. Be optimistic. Time management. North America, in the US and Canada, punctuality is very important. When people are late, unless it's for a really good reason, there was an accident and traffic was held up or something, we think it's kind of a sign of respect. We'd say, well, you would be on time for a doctor's appointment. You'd be on time for a lawyer's appointment, but you're not on time for our meeting. It must not be very important. Anyway, now in Latin America, I know being 5 minutes, 10 minutes late is just considered to be normal. But if you're interviewing with a North American company, I suggest you get there a little early instead of later. Make sure you open your Zoom meeting right on time or a moment before. I know some countries, if you suggest, they say they'll be there on Monday, they won't even show up on Tuesday. Anyway, it's not the way we work in North America. Now, tell me more about yourself, right? That's probably the first, after you do your small talk, and I do have a free small talk course. Just let me know if you want it. Everything you need to know about small talk, and small talk is essential. Tell me about yourself. Now, North America, we're going to keep it pretty professional and work related, but make sure you don't just repeat what's on your resume or CV. Talk about how you got to where you are today, what you learned, what was the value of the lessons. And I would say maybe a minute or so is a good time. Don't go 4 or 5 minutes. You'll lose them. So keep it concise. It's like if you were selling something, you would talk about the benefit, and then you talk about how the feature proves the benefit. So if you're talking about you're good at project management, how did you get there and what do you practice? Well, I use agile project management. I've done a lot of work on it and I've proven it. And there are some things that I've adapted to my project management. They're quite unique. So keep it professional, keep it work related. You might give one little tidbit. And in my spare time, I do triathlons or something, whatever you, but not much. It's not like Latin America where we get into just so much about family and everything. We're kind of a little different when you get up here. What are your greatest strengths? So when you give a strength, make sure you have something concrete to back it up. You could talk about how using your project management system, the project was done on time, on budget, ahead of time, under budget. If you can give a number, we were 15% lower than the budget for the project. We completed it 6 days before it was supposed to be delivered. The client was extremely impressed by this. Give proof of what you say. That's very important. What are your weaknesses? This is a toughie, isn't it? I am organizationally challenged. That's my weakness. That's my biggest weakness. What have I done? I've surrounded myself with people who are very good at administration, good at detail work. And I always make sure I do my work. I do my tasks. I have a list that I work off every day and I prioritize them and I have my KPIs for that day and I make sure they're done. That's how, and I try to keep computer files on my students so I know where they are, what we've done, what needs to be done in the next session, all those sorts of things. And I follow curriculums and that. And I tailor it for the student, and that keeps me organized. And I use technology. So whenever I can, I use technology. And AI has been a big help. AI is my assistant. If I'm thinking of doing a video, I'll get an outline and then adapt the outline, and then I can easily fill it in. Final thoughts. Continuous learning. Every day I try to read something positive. I try to learn something new. I try to ask people I meet about what they think about what I'm doing. How could I be better? What would they like to see? I try to listen very carefully. I try to use open-ended questions to bring this information out. Life is a continual process of learning. I'm 70 years old. This is my project. This is what I love doing. It's probably the most satisfying work I've ever done after 30 plus years of business. And that was fun too. Lots of wins, a few failures, but I learned from those failures. But it's a continual learning process. It keeps us young. And I'm fortunate. I'm in perfect health at my age. So I'm happy with that. And here's a gift. Just let me know if you'd like me to send it to you. Each day for 7 days, you get a short video, 6 to 7 minutes long, and comments and that, and emails, and a community group to talk about good small talk. Small talk is essential in business. It's how we build relationships. It's how we relate to people. It's how we show clients and bosses and that. It builds our confidence in English. You might think small talk is just small talk, but it's not. It's what makes the difference. It's the way people remember us. So this covers things like storytelling, active listening, finding common ground, cultural differences, body language, putting it everything, put it all together. And then typically at the end, I do a live Zoom class with the people who do the course, whoever wants to attend. Now, I haven't heard from anybody today. I hope this thing is actually working. I wouldn't want to find out that I didn't turn the stream on, but it looks like it's on. Now, I wouldn't want to find out that I didn't have my mic on or something. So I will check the comments afterwards. I have a couple student meetings coming right up, but anything you want to comment, anything I can help you with, just let me know. Anybody wants to get the free course, I'll send it to you. DM me, whatever you want to do. I hope you have a fantastic day, and thank you so much for attending.